dignitaries on the dais, and also among the audience. I'm really thankful to TAXAB, which gave me this opportunity to present and share some of my views on unadulterated food, pure water, clean air are our rights under Article 21. And the second line comes with whether government ensures these rights or not. Colin Gonsalves has already said that time is too short and we must be minding those time limits also. And I would like to keep it very, very brief, in fact, and be on the point. I'm not a student of law, but I feel law ultimately is common sense. And I read from the Article 21 itself, no person shall be deprived of his life and personal liberty except according to procedure established by law. And it secures right to life and right to personal liberty, which I think is the most fundamental of all rights. And it does include life with dignity, right to livelihood, right to health, and pollution-free air. And it also ensures minimum necessities that are essential for a person. It also ensures healthy living, freedom from exploitation, minimum wages, right to reputation, social security, and no right to die, euthanasia, which involved a lot of debate in the country a few days back itself. And I mean, if I go through, I've tried to study some of the cases which have been decided in the light of Article 21 itself. They do include closure of tanneries, protection of Taj Mahal, pollution of water, rivers, canals, misuse of residential premises, passive smoking, noise pollution, and right to be informed. All these cases have been settled and decided in the light of this article itself. Now I come to this topic, unadulterated food and pure water and clean air. My friend and the previous speakers have tried to talk about hunger. I go a little step further. Professor Sen did talk of hunger and starvation differently. And Mahatma Gandhi ji did say that there is enough to feed, but there is no end to human's greed. And with regard to unadulterated food, I have a similar kind of feeling. This country, which is nearing 265 to 280 million tons of food, and still we are playing havoc with the lives of the people. That's one point of concern, and here with regard to unadulterated food, I would like to stop. Few days back, I was looking at the most 200 polluted cities of the world, and they included, and I had an assumption that perhaps metro cities or highly populated cities of the country, they happen to be the most polluted cities of not only the country but also the world. But the reality of the matter is that these cities include Gwalior, Allahabad, Patna, Raipur, Delhi, Ludhiana, Kanpur, Khanna, Firozabad, Lucknow, Amritsar, and a small mandi like Govindgarh, Agra, Jodhpur, Dehradun, Jaipur, Howrah, and Kolkata. Of these 200 most polluted cities in the world, more than 60 come from India. That's one thing. On May 2, 2018 itself, Times of India, I do not know of other newspapers, but I read that definitely. It published a story on the cover page itself that 14 out of 50 most polluted cities are in India. And if we name those cities, they include Kanpur, Faridabad, Varanasi, and a city like Gaya, Patna, Delhi, Lucknow, and Agra again. You'll be surprised to know that 3.8 million deaths are caused by household pollution only in the world. And Southeast Asia in that pollution accounts for 40% of the deaths. Mr. Gonsalves was very, very clear in his point that the way the incidence of non-communicable diseases is rising in the world. I have done an article on health very recently. And the way this incidence of non-communicable diseases is rising in India also, which includes heart diseases, strokes, pulmonary diseases, and lung cancer. And especially, we talk of demographic dividend, the young population, a larger proportion of that young population which dies quite prematurely dies of all these diseases, which are caused largely by the pollution in the environment. And just to read few factual details, fuel wood, biomass burning, fuel adulteration, vehicular emission, and traffic congestions, they take a lot from the economy and from our lives also. The recent case of Delhi smoke, which was caused by crop residue burning in the fields of Punjab and Haryana, I think that is going on for several years now. And still we are far from developing an awareness of the kind that people opt for the different kind of measures with regard to that. And you'll be surprised to again know that even I talked about non-smokers in India being passive smokers also. And non-smokers in India they suffer from 30% lower lung functioning compared to Europeans. And we, after China and US, have got third largest greenhouse emission. So this is, and in the environmental position, our position out of 180 countries is 141st. And talking of rivers, of which a good view was given by, again, Colin Gonsalves, he was definitely sharing his concerns about mountain and rivers. And I'm surprised to see that 70% of the rivers which used to be perennial in nature have become seasonal in nature. And more than that, virtually the concept of perenniality is disappearing from the river system of India. These are causes of great concern to all of us. And water contamination, deaths due to water related diseases is going up to 80%. And there are millions of people who are without clean drinking water. I talk of gatherings like this where we are worried about our own water bottle wherever we go. We talk about, are we carrying with ourselves our water bottles or not? But think of the people who are unable to buy. That there has been a long debate on who are actually poor in this country, $1 or $2 or something other than that. I'm talking of the earlier conceptualization about poverty coming from none other than the Planning Commission of this country. And different estimates. If we take a rough estimate of $2 a day on per capita basis, nearly 75% of the population of the country becomes below poverty line. And talking about that, shall we give a leverage that they could have ample muscles to buy their water bottle themselves? So it gives us sufficient reasons to think about all these issues. There is another interesting statistics. In India's case, every 10 samples taken of the water, 7 have failed. Out of every 10 samples, 7 have failed. And 70% of the water supply is considered to be unsafe for drinking. There has been a lot of discussion on whether population or demographic dividend, this demography, the kind of demography or demographic changes that we are talking about purely in terms of population growth, do they happen to be dividend giving or do they happen to be disaster giving? So we have to apply the things. I think demographic dividend became a very popular term over last 15-20 years, ever since Bloomberg and Williamson talked about those concepts, but they were referring to United States of America and European countries. And they did say that people in the age group of 15 to 64 years of age who constitute the working population of the country, they in years to come can be estimated to provide us demographic dividend. But in India's case, our concern has to be a population could be considered because dividend could be given by an asset, and a population which is not an asset in terms of the fact it is neither educated to that level, nor skilled, nor healthy, can it be considered to be an asset at all. And then the basic issue that who should be ensuring it all. I very interestingly, before coming for this talk, I looked at the statistics of India, Pakistan and Bangladesh. Over last since 1951, because all these countries have got their censuses done, first censuses after the independence done for 1951. I hope you would agree with me, Bangladesh also, its statistic can be considered from 1951. Pakistan in terms of population growth has gone 5 times of what it was in 1951. Bangladesh has also grown more than 4.25 times of what it was in 1951. And India's case, which was 36 crore then, but I have done some statistical work on that. India's population in 2018, taken over last 5 years at an average growth rate of 1.5% per annum, must be around 134 crore. So given this statistics of population, which leads finally to, while coming here, I was thinking about that in American context also, there's a good amount of discussion on paradoxes, and there is a popular paradox known as Leontief's paradox. Because an American economist was experimenting with the idea and is starting with an assumption that since America is a capital-rich country and a labor-scarce country, so its advantage in business should be lying in the abundance of the capital itself, because that factor should be cheaper there. But the fact of the matter was that the input-output analysis conducted for a few years gave a very surprising result to Leontief, that since their population was loaded with the doses of capital, and that is why the statistics were entirely paradoxical of what was the assumption. So what I'm trying to say in this context is that population or demography can be considered a dividend only and only if it is converted into an asset. And regarding who ensures, I think we are a democracy. We can't leave this responsibility to the government alone. The entire population, as Gonsalves very rightly said, that we have to own this responsibility. We have to be aware first, and we have to spread this awareness first. Let's keep our house in order first, and then talk about others. With these words, I would like to stop here. So thank you very much. मैं भारत